Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hope you're well, thank you for joining me again. Beautiful day outside. Did you see the thumbnail for this video with me holding the old polling card in my hand? That was taken down on the local seafront fairly near where I live. Such a glorious day today, and it was about 20 degrees first thing, so I reckon it's going to be a scorcher. Anyway, what did I do? Took my eldest lad to work this morning, and I went and did my thing, and I went and voted in the local elections. They actually moved the polling station this year from where I usually go to a little church just down the road, so I went and popped in there, and the turnout first thing looked pretty good, actually, pretty good. Where I live, there's a large portion of bungalows where you have a lot of retired people and, you know, the elder generation. If they can, they probably feel it's their duty to get out and get down that polling station and vote. Now, I always say that you have got to. You know, if you are able to and you can, you have got to get down there and vote, because any other way you're lending tacit agreement to the establishment to just carry on as they like. And I've had lots of comments from people saying that if you vote, you're consenting to the system. Well, if you don't vote and don't give your consent to the system, they don't need your consent because they just carry on anyway. So, yeah, you know, there's fors and against that argument. Anyway, what did I do? I voted Reform. I had looked down a list, and there was an independent who I wouldn't vote for if he was the last councillor on earth. There was Labour, there was Conservative, there was Reform, and I think there was even a Green. But if Reform wasn't on there, I would have said, I do not consent, Ashby versus White 1703. But Reform was. Now, why did I vote Reform? Despite the fact I've been bad-mouthing them this whole time. It's very simple to send a message. You see, we have a situation in this country, and I'll come on to this in a bit more detail in my next video, where we are severely under the cosh in many ways. We're under the cosh with the bills we pay, we're under the cosh with the council tax, we're under the cosh with what we're allowed to say and what we're allowed to do and our ability to carry on that way. Free speech, I think they call it. And it's getting very, very severe. And it's quite obvious that all of this has transpired, or at least got worse, since the Labour Party ended up in power from the 4th of July last year. In fact, it wasn't that great before, let's face it, but certainly it's got worse now. Now, if Keir Starmer isn't sent a clear message at the ballot box this time round, even though it's the local council elections, he will be emboldened and he will carry on regardless. Now, like it or not, the party with the biggest momentum right now to be able to send that message is Reform. And as many Reform councillors need to be in as many councils all over the country as possible. I don't think that, you know, I can stress the importance of that enough, because what that will do is put a foothold in the councils, and it will begin to create a situation which will give the establishment pause. Conservatives and Labour, let's put it this way, they've had it all their own way for far too long, haven't they? But what happens after that? Well, we have got 4 years, well, less than that maybe, depending on what happens with Starmer next, where we have time to come up with an alternative. The other comments that I've seen on my channel, quite a lot actually, are things like I'm deluded, I'm delusional, I don't know how the system works. If I talk about this, I'm just going to hand Labour a ticket for the next 5 years, and so on and so on. Well, the problem is there's too many people that still believe that. That you have first past the post, don't you? And if people believe the British con that is first past the post, then Labour and Conservative will get in forevermore, because you're just going to vote for one to keep the other one out. And that's going to be the way it's going to be all the time. But what we have to realise is that if every single person in this country turns out en masse and votes for an alternative, votes for something different, even with first past the post, you're going to have a situation where things can change. Something to think about. Now, there's a great deal wrong with reform. There's a great deal wrong with all of the parties in power at the moment, which give me great pause. And when it comes to a general election, when it comes to representation in that place, that House of Westminster, I don't think I can vote for any of them with good conscience. So unless anybody changed tack, significantly in a very large way, I couldn't in good conscience give them my vote, because I know that they would not be representing my best interests. They would not be representing what I wanted, and those are my friends and my family. So I think in that case it would be I do not consent, Ashby versus White, 1703. I'm very much, into England. I very much support the English way of life, and that's what I'd like to see the direction going. I mean, those that poo-poo England, if you have a look at America, for example, and their constitution, where do you think that constitution came from? What was the basis of that constitution? That's right, the English constitution. So that is there, it's ingrained in our history, and what we're finding is our rights and everything are slowly being eroded away. And again, I'll come to that in my next video of the day. So, a lot would have to change quickly for me to lend my vote to anybody else in that house. One thing we have, we've had this problem for years, is the fact that there is a low turnout. Because whenever you see, oh, they won it with 60% of the vote, that's not 60% of the voting public, that's 60% of who turned up. So, there's an awful lot of disenfranchised out there that need to get engaged with the system. Because if they don't, then unfortunately, we're going to carry on with this cycle. So to summarise, I hope that we wake up tomorrow with the fact that reform has absolutely destroyed the opposition throughout all the councils throughout the land. And it's my hope that when it comes to the general election, something seismic happens. And I think we do have enough time for enough people to be woken up to that fact. Let me know what you think in the comments, and maybe let me know how you got on today. As always, hit the like button on the video, because that helps the algorithm and the channel. Thank you for coming, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Toodaloo.